Good morning, good morning. Hello, everybody. My name is Scott. If this is your first time at Denver Community Church, great, me too. I've never been here before, but I'm friends with a lot of people in this community, and this is my first time here. I'm a visiting friend, artist, and I'm doing a thing tonight, but I'm here because my friend Jason Miller is speaking today, and I'm glad to be with you all. Traditionally at churches or in sacred gatherings, we have like a call to worship, a call to respond. Vocationally, I'm a visual artist. And so I was like, hey, could I invite the community to do some image contemplation as we prepare our hearts and our minds and our souls for our time together? So we're going to walk through a few images together if that's cool with you. The first one is... This is called kintsugi, and it's an ancient Japanese practice of breaking pottery. And then, guys, I want to let you know that I'm not going to do this image. Look, if you're a professional speaker and you're still doing, have you not heard of kintsugi? Speakers have been using this metaphor for like 15 years, and it's over. Next slide. It's over. We're not going to use this metaphor anymore. If you're a professional speaker and you're using this, look at some art books. There's other things to look at. It's like if you're a preacher and you're still using Matrix parables, all right? That's it. That's a joke just for me. Okay, let's do this. Look at this. If somebody asked you and they said, draw a candle and draw a candle flame, how would you go about doing that? How do you draw a candle flame? Well, if you were going to use like a white piece of paper and some graphite, you may outline the flame. But how you actually draw light is you have to draw all the things that are around the light. You draw the negative space around it. You reveal light. You can't draw light. You have to reveal the light. And in art practice, we call this the negative space, right? The negative space. It's the space around the thing that helps reveal the image itself. You can go to the next slide. And this is used a lot in art. If you look at different things, paintings, illustrations and stuff, often you'll have the main subject matter, but sometimes artists they've focused on the space around it to reveal the thing. Like you could take this stool, you could say, I'm gonna draw this stool, but you could also do a drawing of the stool by drawing the spaces that are around the stool, right? This morning, Jason, and we're going to spend time on a passage in Matthew that it has to deal with a bit of a paradox. And I'm not going to expound on that passage because Jason is going to do that more eloquently. You can go to the next slide. But one of the things that we find in dealing with paradox is that we're finding like ourselves in like two things and we don't know how to deal with it. And so we find ourselves in the mystery of it. And I wonder if we could use the idea of negative space as like, how do we understand what it feels like to be in the middle space of it? Because often in our spiritual journey, there's a lot of things we can't focus on, but we can focus on the things that are around it that help illuminate the thing in the middle. Like in my own experience, it's taken surprisingly a good amount of sorrow to find joy. It's taken a good amount of darkness to see the light. And it's taken a good amount of like unbelief to find belief. I actually feel like of late, I don't really know how to describe God to people. If people want to talk about God, I'm like, I don't really know how to do that right now. And I actually found that it's in the places of maybe like unbelief or not knowing how to describe God that gives me a picture of God. Because when I talk about God, look, it's not an old man in the sky. That's not what I'm talking about anymore, right? One of the things that's really helped me is like gratitude. Gratitude has really helped me understand God a bit more. I think there's this really interesting thing in people that we all have this innate sense to say thank you at some point in our life. Like if Brad Pitt walked in this room, I'd be like, great, hi Brad, thanks for coming. But if Ira Glass, the host of This American Life, walked in this room, I would put this microphone down, probably take off my coat and come and be like, thank you for all the work that you've done, right? Because this Ira Glass, this artist, had like created all the stuff that's really impacted my life. And because of the transformation I've received of that, there's this thing in me that just longs to say thank you. This has happened. I'm sure you've had the same experience. Somebody who's gifted you or like transformed your life, this desire to say thank you. To me, that points to some kind of divine and sacred activity. Also, like consciousness. I've been going through some difficult things in my family. My son has gone through some hard surgeries of late, and there's been a lot of loss in our friend group and stuff like that. And I think that there's a certain aspect of life that feels hard and dark and meaninglessness, but then I was talking with a priest friend of mine, and I was like, but we're all here, and it's kind of still a miracle that we're all here, and I'm kind of a miracle, and you're all a miracle, and you're all a miracle. Like, what is this thing? Who are we? This consciousness, it's worth spending some time thinking about. It helps me, this negative space helps me see that maybe it points to the divine. I want to end on this last image. This is a painting called The Holy Night by Antonio da Carigio. I'm sure I said that wrong. He was an Italian artist, and this was actually his first big church commission. And he did this interesting thing. One of the things that's interesting in the Christian tradition is that in the incarnation story of Jesus, he was not born in some palace. He was not born to royalty, as a lot of other faith traditions have stories about them. But he was born in the simplicity of human ordinariness. And in this painting, Antonio, or Tony, as his friends call him, he set the light source on the incarnation, right? And then that incarnation was shining light on all of these other aspects of a human life. And I think in his faith, and what he's expressing, he's like, what I found to be true is that this presence of God in my life helps illuminate all the other things, all the other aspects of my life. And I think this morning, we're probably all here. If we took time to say, hey, how's your life going? What's going on? We would describe probably some wonderful things and some hard things, some mysterious things, some exhausting things. And there may be some aspects of you're like, oh, I feel like I can accomplish faith. And maybe there's other aspects of your life you're like, I don't know how to do this faith thing at all. And I wonder if those aspects of our life, maybe we could call those negative spaces, that they would actually help us see that Christ is still in the midst of that, right? Like those of you here, some of you are like tired parents or caregivers. And that space lets us know that, hey, love is a bit of a verb, which is a vintage DC Talk reference there. Some of you feel like lost kind of in your life, maybe vocationally. And isn't it interesting that Jesus gave us so many stories about being lost, right? Like a coin and a son and a sheep, right? Some of you maybe feel like, I don't really understand. I'm actually like a little bit depressed. I'm secretly depressed and having a hard time. And you know what? In our sacred text, there's a book in the middle of it where the author expounds. He's like, life is kind of meaninglessness, but it also has a lot of meaning too. And it's in this light and this dark, this negative space, this positive space that we find that we're transformed in the middle of that. So as we're going to go into song and sacrament and teaching this morning, just wanted you to think about maybe the images or the places that you find or you're in the negative space or the unknown space and how that could go together. Glad you're here this morning.